We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. So let's go ahead with the roll call, please.
Jerry Cabasco.
Here.
Kirsten Erickson is absent tonight. Robert Perry, not here at least yet. Bruce Suffern. Brittany Stein.
Here.
She's here on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce tonight. Thank you. Adam Lewinsky is not here. Robert Gorski.
Here.
And Mike Densford. Well, thank you five for coming tonight, so we have a quorum.
The next agenda item is the approval of the October 14th meeting minutes. Everybody have a chance to review the minutes? If so, I'd like to, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Any additional conversation, discussion? Okay, yes. All in favor?
Yep, then you're gonna have to take over. Okay, can we have a discussion on your previous minutes from October 14th, 2024? Any discussion or a motion to approve?
We have a motion and a second. So,
It's yours.
Back to you.
oh, all right, well,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I'm just going to state that Commissioner Perry is present.
The next item on the agenda is public comment. No one is here. We will move on. The next item on the agenda is Belong in Bartlett Media Campaign.
Yes, thank you. We talk about our branding campaign frequently here, and over the months, we've talked about our marketing strategy when it comes to the Belong in Bartlett branding. As you all know, and Ms. Stein will hear, we've engaged with A5 branding to help guide us with this, and part of their overall strategy is to engage mass media. We've talked about that a lot here, about the various goals of the branding campaign, economic development purposes, and promoting events and businesses within Bartlett. So this is, we're entering the phase where we're promoting some events tied in with the business community also in Bartlett, and we're reaching out beyond village media, like our own social media or website. We're going out to work with WGN Radio and TV, as well as Fox. We've entered into contracts with both of them, primarily to promote some of the upcoming events. And when I say tied in with businesses, the one we're focusing on first is Small Business Saturday, which is, I've talked about it for many, many years at the EDC, and it's the Saturday following Black Friday. Actually, Scott can talk a little bit more about this because this involved going downtown last week to Fox Studios, and I saw there was somebody from Fox in town today shooting some B-roll, as they call it, some of the background footage that they use when they're putting together their visuals. And I saw them actually at one of the commissioner's businesses who is on the list. Banbury Fair also being home to Delicious and Le Petit was on the list. I know they were there. They were going around town today. So WGN Radio next Monday is coming out to film some video. We've given them a similar list of local businesses. As of now, the homepage takeover, they call it, is scheduled for December 5th. The Hometown Series on the radio is scheduled for December 12th. It's going to have morning, afternoon, and evening segments, and we'll be running 75 radio ads from late November through the first week of February. There's a breakdown that just came in today to our staff, how we're going to break it down, and actually we tweaked it a little bit because we want to stretch it out from roughly next week, starting to lead into Small Business Saturday, but we have the 4 different things we want to promote. And we talked about our inaugural restaurant week in February at our last meeting. So we're putting 25 of those ads in our back pocket for leading up to that. And you'll hear like 15 to 20 ads each for Small Business Saturday, for the Marion Bright, and then we have very general You Belong in Bartlett ads coming up. And again, I want to also have Scott chime in on some of this. He's been very active, really taking a strong lead on some of this advertising.
Yeah, that's a good summary, Tony. I don't have too much to add, but this is where the next few weeks and months starts to get exciting. We saw kind of a lull, but we were holding everything back to maximize our dollars, to have the branding campaign weave into, like Tony said, Small Business Saturday, Marion Bright, and then on the back end of that, Restaurant Week. So you're going to see radio ads and digital ads and a lot of things on the radio. And one of the days, WGN's whole page is going to be devoted to Bartlett with banners and whatnot. So really, the next few months will be critical to the campaign. So we're really excited about it, and it's going to be blasting out pretty soon.
Yeah. And I say this a lot at the meetings with social media, and here we have Trustee Gansey, who used to be on the EDC and is a social media expert. Anytime you share it with any group you're in or organization or your own whatever family groups, maybe somebody else will like it and share it. We're going to try to get this out there again far and wide. We don't want it just sitting on, on the Village Discover Bartlett Facebook page a few times. We want to really get it out there. And I'm going to mention that for Small Business Saturday in particular, we've done it for a lot of years. They used to send us a lot of materials that we could hand out, but they kind of cut back on that. But the small retailers in our downtown, including Banbury Fair, have bought into it and participated and marketed on their own for a long time. And before Mr. Suffern was on the EDC, people would always ask, how did it go? And I would say, well, a lot of the small businesses in downtown, and particularly Banbury Fair, would say that they had good buy-in from it. People knew about it. Some customers came in and mentioned it. And so we're pretty excited about it. I don't need to tell you all that Bartlett doesn't have Woodfield Mall and a bunch of big boxes like Target and Walmart, but we have a lot of mom and pop small businesses, and they're unique. You walk right in and you see the owner of it. You get better customer service than you get at any of these big box retailers. So that's always been kind of a big thing for the EDC to promote Small Business Saturday, but literally this year, 2024, is the most we're going to ever promote it. So if there's any other questions or comments, or if Commissioner Suffern would even like to mention his take on it over the years.
Well, it is,
Microphone, please.
it is definitely the event that for us personally, makes us feel good in a number of ways. One, in terms of sales that day, but two, in terms of people reinforcing their loyalty. So I'm sure you're of loyalty. And with the internet being such a active competitor, we understand that shopping habits have changed dramatically, but that particular event is one where a lot of our loyal customers make it a point to turn out. So reminding them of that, reminding them, hey, is great.
One of the nice things about this branding campaign that we're doing, you know, in the past, not due to a lack of effort, just due to a lack of resources, we haven't sometimes been able to identify the demographics, but with the help of A5 and Fox, we're going to be able to see a breakdown of who gets these ads, when they get them, et cetera. So we're excited to share those as well, and that'll give us a real nice data points to follow.
It's a great surprise. I mean, it's a Christmas come early.
Well, we will alert you. We'll make it known when it's going to be on the radio. And with these videos, you know, it's something that we can use on our village website. Like I said, WGN is primarily radio, but they're also coming out to produce video promoting the town.
Other commentary? All right, the next agenda item is Business Parks Update.
Thank you. Last week, we had our TIF Joint Review Board meeting. That was last Thursday. That's a meeting that's mandated by the state for all the communities, 500 communities that have TIF districts in the state every year. And the various taxing districts sit up there and we prepare financial reports. The finance department prepares a financial report and I prepare a development report to share. So I'm going to share a lot of some of the highlights of them tonight because we've talked about developing these business parks for as long as I've been at these EDC meetings, all the way from Brewster Creek just being a depleted gravel pit in the ground 23 years ago to a nearly fully built out business park with thousands and thousands of employees and over 75 businesses. So here's some of the highlights. The equalized assessed value has exceeded 100 million. It's actually at about 103. 1 year ago, it was about 87 and some change, so it went up by quite a bit. Every few months here at the EDC, I'll do an update and I'll say there's this building or that building coming soon. Some of those Cook County buildings that we talked about, and then the village board ultimately approved Class 6Bs, because as a lot of you know, the property taxes can be much higher on that across that county line. And so some of those buildings, they haven't all been fully assessed yet, but it went over 100 million, which is quite amazing considering it started off as 200 million. I'm sorry, not 200, 2 million 23 years ago. I always say at these meetings, and I always say it here, it's the economic engine of the village. Our last item, we're talking about small businesses. This is where we talk about some of our larger businesses. We have some of the largest food companies in the Chicago area out there. We have the biggest medical supply distributor out there. We have Illinois Tool Works out there. We have quite a few big businesses out there, as you know. So it really is the economic engine of the village. Some of these buildings are $30, $40 million buildings that these developers put up. And as I've mentioned here a few times over the last few years, a lot of them are built on spec. They just build them. Build it and they will come. And really they have been filling. So a lot of the businesses that are moving in now, like Colony Display, for instance, those are all businesses that moved into speculative buildings. There's stick on that one for just half a minute. It's okay.
I apologize, we're having some
Sorry about
computer issues tonight.
Tony,
You have the packets in front of you?
could I ask a question?
Yes.
Just curious, because you see these business parks popping up in other areas as well. It seems like it's a phenomenon of putting up large warehouses. What exactly is driving that? And is that sustainable?
I could talk about that at length, especially what's driving it. With this now, forgive me, I'm going to run up there and grab one of my own summaries. In terms of what's driving it, that's almost like the easy question. I've gone to a lot of industrial conferences and met with a lot of industrial brokers over the years, as you might imagine, and they call these last mile facilities. It's a little bit like the Amazon effect, but it's not only Amazon, where you go on and you make a purchase and it shows up at your doorstep. We have a business out there, for instance, called Animal Supply Company, and they're the largest supplier of animal-related items that are sold in pet stores all throughout the region. It really has to do with the way logistics are now. Forgive me for 1 minute while we attend to a technical issue. See if that comes back up. Anyway, it has to do with the last mile facilities, deliveries, warehouse and distribution. It's a big trend. Whenever you hear things about the economy in general, what you might not hear if you're not involved with industrial or logistics or warehousing is Chicago, really Illinois, Chicago area is the leader for that in the entire country. There's a Site Selection magazine and something called Area Development magazine. They've all ranked Illinois as top. And that's, I would say, for obvious reasons, but reasons if you're going to distribute everything there is for Home Depot, you don't want to do it from California, you don't want to do it from Long Island, you want to do it from somewhere in the middle of the country that has rail spurs and highways basically going in every single direction. So that's, like I said, that's the easy question, is what's driving it is warehouse and distribution. This area is the very top for that. Whether or not it's sustainable, I suppose that remains to be seen. It seems like that model is here to stay. As a small business owner, you can understand, a lot of people do. I'm guilty of it myself. A lot of your Black Friday shopping online and a lot of your online shopping on Amazon all the time. And so there's a great need for warehousing and logistics, and particularly in this area. Chicago is well known for it. And Bartlett's been a beneficiary of that. I talked about how there's 3 new gigantic buildings in Cook County. They're 400,000 square feet each. All 3 of them got a Class 6B incentive, but the vast majority of Brewster Creek Business Park is located in DuPage County. And it's attracted a lot of businesses from Cook County over the years due to the favorable tax structure, as well as simply having the land to do a lot of build-to-suits. So anyway, I could talk about that at length, but there's a lot of factors driving the growth and hopefully sustaining it over the years. So we have another, as Brewster Creek's been built out, Blue Heron and Southwind Business Parks. That's another TIF on the far west side of town. It's on Route 25. The east side of the road there belongs to Bartlett, and the west side of the road there belongs to South Elgin. I put in quotes a smaller version of Brewster Creek, because really it adds up to about 160-ish acres, 125 on the north side of West Bartlett Road, and about 40 some odd acres south of it. So my former boss, who used to staff these meetings, some of you recall Jim Plonzinski, we would joke that there would be allowable uses there that weren't allowed. If it's not allowed in the business districts or in Brewster Creek Business Park, there's a chance that it would be allowed. Trucking companies, companies that have like 2 or 3 acres of outdoor storage are out there. There's a shingle recycling facility. There's a liquid asphalt plant. There's all kinds of things there that are kind of tucked away in the back. So I say it's a smaller version of Brewster Creek, but with heavier land use allowances. Some of the new projects, self-storage, a couple transportation things, Allen Horticulture, and Great Lakes Landscaping. So 2 other landscaping companies. It's Great Lakes Landscaping second building. Christy Stone here, our Director of Planning and Development, reminded me it's their second building out there. The photo that you see here is the 167,000 square foot spec building. When you're driving up and down Route 25, you can't help but miss that one.
Question with regard to the tax structure in Kane County versus DuPage or Cook. Is Kane also favorable in terms of?
Kane is very similar to DuPage.
Okay.
It's lower. That's another one of their selling points, is that it's in Kane County.
Yes.
And also, I kind of said this about Brewster Creek, drawing all those Cook County businesses, that just even by the fact of having the available land, helped attract a few businesses out there. The overall developer of the business park, Dean Kelly, is a really forward-thinking and well-connected business person. So a lot of these came in through him and various brokers in the area that we've worked with for years. It's good as this dies that I'm going to share that the EAV for that last year was $16 million. This year it's $21.3 million. I had the list of the 5 different buildings, or 5 or 6 different buildings that are in various stages of development. At this point, there's actually only 3 remaining lots in those business parks that aren't spoken for. So my guess is that about 2 years from now, year and a half from now, maybe we'll be talking about that TIF on the far west side being nearly totally built out.
Other questions? All right. New business.
I actually do have a little new business, and maybe I'll show you at some other point. There's 2 eyebrow businesses. Ironically, we've had none ever, and we have 2 of them opening basically this week. There's one in the streets of Bartlett opening, and there's one just a few doors south of here over in Main Street Plaza. And so now we have 2. I don't know if either one of them knew the other one was opening, but probably there's room for 2 of them here in downtown Bartlett. And last but not least, last month I was asked about On the Rocks by Bobby, and that one has opened. This is a pretty nicely built out business just south of Apple Valley Drive along Route 59. Gambit's was previously located there, if that helps give you a reference point. And this business has 800 SKUs of whiskey and 200 SKUs of tequila, along with a full kitchen. So we're going to add it to our local dining. We're really drinking and dining establishments, and it's another one that's open here. So we've got at least 3 new businesses, more coming to the business park. Typically, we look at the vacancy or the occupancy rate, depending on how you like to look at it, early in the year. And my best guess is that it's going to be fairly similar to what it was last year. By my recollection, it was a 5% vacancy rate. A few places closed and haven't been backfilled yet, but for the most part, anything that's closed in the throughout 2024 has been filled again. And our industrial vacancy rate was near 0 last year. You'll see some little percentage on it this year. Just like I mentioned, there's that one big speculative building along Route 25, and there's another speculative building coming to Brewster Creek Business Park. So however long it takes for those to fill, we'll have a couple of big vacant industrial buildings. My guess is they'll both fill pretty quickly.
And just as a reminder, under new business, the first Friday in December is our Marion Bright event. We've got a meeting this Wednesday with the committee to put the final touches on. We're really excited about it. And then second Saturday in December is the Cocoa Crawl. We already have 30 businesses signed up. There's a few that are missing that we're going to call this week to get them moving and get them signed up. And then later in February is our first ever restaurant week. So we're really excited about that, and that is something that we're starting to put together, that we're going to have our advertising for that is going to begin the day of the Cocoa Crawl, since that's where the captive audience will be. And we're going to push out some media for that, and you'll be hearing about that in the next couple meetings as it comes together.
Is that going to be included on the box and WGN stuff?
Yeah, we set aside a series of commercials on the radio as well as digital. We're saving them for Restaurant Week, actually. So, yeah, good question.
Looking forward to Marion Bright. It's a wonderful event. I'm very proud of inviting people to the event, and so I'm really glad to see that it's continuing on.
Yeah, it's funny, that first year, I remember us sitting there, and it was a lot of work to pull it together, but in the words of our chief of police, he said it really feels like a Hallmark movie, and he was right. So we're really excited about our 4th edition this year.
Any other new business? If not, take a motion to adjourn.
I second.
That conclude new business?
It did.
Oh, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Meeting's adjourned.
Okay.